Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. And today I want to talk about user retention. Okay, so I had a client meeting this morning. I'm just walking back to the office, went home, took the suit off, or at least most of the suit, and just heading back to the office. And I want to answer a question by Multiverse App. So like almost every video I posted this week, the first comment is from Multiverse App asking the same question, which is this. Hi Eric, please make a video on user retention. When I see my installs and uninstalls graphs in the dev console, I notice that there's a huge hike in installs. For some reason, the number of uninstalls gets hiked too. And to be honest, at the end of the day, it's not the number of downloads that matter, it's the number of active users. So, can you please make a video on user retention, how to maintain a decent amount of user base on your app? I think a lot of developers would want to see that. Dude, I'd like to see that too, right? So the reason I've been dodging this question is because my user retention is terrible, right? So I want to see what you guys think in terms of what your user retention is like. And I'm going to go back to the office now and I'll show you on my Google Play console just how bad it is for me. You see, my problem is that my apps are not information based, right? They're kind of, some people take them really seriously, some people take them as like trinkets or like, you know, novelty things. So they're not the kind of things that people open up and use every day. I mean, I wish they were. I would so love to have like a news app or something that, you know, it was always there. People took it out of their pocket and they checked it like every day. That would be, God, that would just be so awesome. But unfortunately, I don't have anything like that. So I don't have a good frame of reference. Since you guys already know I'm a slob, I can show you what the office looks like again. All right, so let me boot up the computer, right? And I'll show you exactly what my Google Play console looks like for EarSpy, my biggest app. Okay, so here we are. Now first let me start off by saying, even though my user retention is bad, or you know, it's not as great, I mean, it's bad. I can't really, you know, there's nothing I can say about that. Even though my user retention is bad, the revenue is pretty good. I mean, and I know if I could get user retention up, it would be way better, right? But, so like, to give you an idea, I'm not gonna show you my ad mob, but I'll tell you how much I made yesterday from ad mob. And it's lower than it has been lately. Yesterday it was 92 pounds, it was 105 before that. Usually it stays around the 100-pound mark at the moment. So not to, you know, I got in trouble before. Well, I didn't get in trouble, but I took down a video because I'm not supposed to show RPMs and stuff. But to give an example of how much I'm making each day, I was like around the 100-pound mark on AdMob. On sales, it fluctuates wildly on Google Play, but usually it's about 50, and it's about between 30 and 40 on iTunes. So usually it's about, actually usually it's around 200 altogether. So taking in AdMob, AppLovin, Facebook ads, iTunes payments or iTunes purchases, in-app and regular Google Wallet and AdMob, then you know it does pretty well. So this is all with very bad user retention. So the reason I'm telling you that is because I don't want you guys to think I'm a fraud. Like I'm always talking about apps, right? And when you see my user retention, I guess I'm just feeling a little defensive, right? So just back off, right? So now let me just have a look at my screen here. Now here's my Google Play console. Oh, by the way, let me give you an update. So I'll go to EarSpy because that's the one that makes most of the money actually at the moment. So let me go into, sorry, did I say EarSpy? I meant Ear Agent. So, because I changed the name. So, Ear Agent. So, to date, well, actually, you can see the retention right here. Right, to date, we've had 4,617,434, 434 downloads altogether over the past several years. Current installs were only at 119,232, which is not bad, but it's not, you know, I mean, it's a small percentage, right? So, and again, across the board, let me just show you some of these download stats. I mean, they're usually that way. I mean, you got to talk about when people, the biggest problem people have with smartphones is battery life and disk space. So, you know, your app is part of the disk space problem, right? It could be part of the battery problem, but hopefully not if you have like a memory leak or something. So let's go into Ear Agent here. I don't know if there's much more I need to show you. Oh, first of all, I gave you an update last week on how it's doing since I changed the name, and I was saying, actually, it's not that bad. We're doing okay. Have a look at this. It's actually, we're down 26% on downloads since last month. And that's not even considering, everything. So here you can see this is where I changed the name from EarSpy to EarAgent, and we just had consistently lower downloads. But it seems to be kind of leveling off. I need to start taking some aggressive action to get that back up again. Start looking for some alternative keywords to do that, because it's still, there's still a pulse. It's still breathing. It's still generating revenue, but it's it's not as good as it has been. So actually, this is all we have to look at for user retention too. Look, so my installs per user over the last 30 days, my uninstalls per user for the last 30 days. Now this is consistent with everything we hear about apps anyway. You hear about most people use the app only once or twice and then they uninstall it. People will try apps and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you can't make a decent living from it, but those of you who have better retention rates than that, hey man, I want to hear from you. Now some of the things that I've read about and obviously haven't tried are using push notifications. So if you have an install and people aren't actually going into it, you can send them push notifications just to remind them that the app is there, right? You could have different ways of doing stuff. But I think about some of the apps I've had in the past which I thought, this is something I'm going to use all the time, and I just didn't. One of the first apps I ever downloaded was Shazam. I mean, have you guys ever used that, where you listen to, where it will listen to the music and it will tell you what song you're listening to? I thought that was so awesome. I thought, I can use this all the time, right? And I never used it at all. And then when the first time I ran out of disk space, that went, right? So this is something we're all susceptible to, right? So anyway, I guess I don't have a lot to talk about today. I mean, what kind of advice can I give, right? Because my retention is not great. But let me say something that I read not too long ago. It might have been Tony Robbins' thing, where they said there's 3 ways to increase the amount of money you earn in business. 1 is to increase the quantity of sales. 2 is to increase the value of sales, so by raising your price. And 3 is to increase your increase how much people buy from it, right? So you have either get more clients, get your clients to buy more stuff, or raise your price, right? So this is kind of the same with apps, right? So my strategy has always been get more clients, get more downloads, get more people in, because I know that they're not long-term users. I don't have a lot to offer them. Some people will keep the app and they use, I get a lot of good reviews. People use it all the time, right? And I got a lot of bad reviews. People say, this sucks, and they uninstall it. That's just the way it is, right? So that's the way I go. What would be better strategy, or at least a better strategy to implement, would be to those current users who go in and use the app all the time, to give them some upsells. So I've got 4 in-app purchases. I should add more, right? And I'm only focusing on this one app. There's all the other ones. They do have better retention rates, but still it seems to be pretty consistent, right? I find very low retention. So anyway, this is to answer your question, right? This is the reason I've been dodging the question all week, is because my user retention is terrible. Sorry to keep going on about that, basically, but so this is what I'm asking you. Please, this is what I'm asking you. Those of you out there who have really good user retention, how are you doing it, right? Put it in the comments. What are some of the things you're trying, right? I'm going to learn from it. Other people can learn from it. If it's a secret, then don't tell us, but message me privately. No, I'm just kidding. So if it's a secret, then that's fine, but love to hear what you have to say. Anyway, that's it for today. That's it for this week. I will talk to you guys next week.